Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Is Indiana's tax climate friendly to all Hoosiers or just businesses?
We've already cut all the other areas. We're bare bones everywhere. We pretty much have minimum staffing in police and fire now of what we need to deliver services.
A committee studying the state's business tax code met for the first time this week. Why some senior lawmakers say the legislature needs to leave the tax structure alone. The monarch butterfly population has decreased almost 90% over the last 2 decades.
Why let something like that go when we have the power to potentially stop it?
Preservationists want to add the butterfly to the threatened species list. Ahead, why some say that would create additional bureaucracy and be a financial burden on Hoosiers. Plus, what you need to know about the respiratory virus that's now impacting children in Indiana. Those stories and the latest on this week's top stories right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Hello, I'm Joe Wren, and welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. Some Indiana legislators say eliminating the business personal property tax could attract more companies to the state. They debated the issue earlier this year and passed a law allowing counties to do away with the tax if they wanted. Now, a study committee is debating whether lawmakers should consider further changes to the state's tax code. Barbara Harrington explains why that has mayors across the state worried.
Terre Haute police officer Drew Thornsborough gets into his car every morning, not knowing what to expect.
Lafayette 6th Avenue on a blue Dodge Grand Caravan.
On this day, his morning starts with a traffic stop, a driver heading the wrong direction down a one-way street.
No warrants at any other counties, no warrants at our county, so I'm just gonna kick him loose with a verbal warning, not writing him in tickets.
Thornsborough is just one of 133 officers in the department who go to work every day charged with keeping Terre Haute safe. But Mayor Duke Bennett says that number could change if lawmakers eventually decide to eliminate Indiana's business personal property tax.
It would mean we probably have to lay off somewhere between 100 and 140 people, and a lot of those would be policemen and firemen because we've already cut all the other areas. We're bare bones everywhere. We pretty much have minimum staffing in police and fire now of what we need to deliver services.
Bennett says doing away with the tax would result in a loss of about $4.5 million for the city, which already saw about 1/3 of its general fund income disappear because of property tax caps. The legislature passed a reform bill earlier this year that allows local governments to decide how they want to handle the issue, starting in 2015. Under the measure, city leaders can exempt new equipment from the business personal property tax, eliminate the tax on small businesses, or abate the tax on specific projects for up to 20 years.
What they ended up with was something that we can live with at this point, that it's a county by county option, even though we believe there's some other negatives to that down the road. But right now, that's better than a total elimination of the tax.
Bennett is worried the current law could pit counties against each other, or that the legislature will still do away with the tax down the road. If that happens, mayors across the state say the money must come from somewhere else.
I think if you listen to the economists and you listen to the business experts, it may put us at a bit of a competitive disadvantage to have this tax in place. That being said, we're most concerned about the revenue that is provided to local governments. It just has to be replaced.
A study committee is tasked with examining the complicated tax code and its impact on local governments. They met for the first time this week and listened to testimony about how Indiana compares to other states. According to a Council on State Taxation study, Indiana's tax burden on businesses is the lowest in the region.
We're in good shape, but as you subdivide into different categories, you can say our business tax climate is good. But business comprises a lot of things, everything from the small mom and pop shop on the corner to some of our largest employers. Each of them has a different property mix, has a different tax burden. And so while overall we rank very well, there may be some subsectors that have issues that need to be looked at.
Study Committee Chairman Senator Brant Hirschman sponsored the bill that gives local governments the option to eliminate the business personal property tax. He says it makes Indiana more competitive when it comes to attracting new businesses, and he'd like to see the measure expanded during the upcoming legislative session.
We put the delayed start date into the law specifically with the idea that if we wanted to make improvements, we could. And I could see some modest improvements. For instance, I still am a very strong proponent of the exemption for small businesses. It costs very little. The cost of compliance is very high.
But Senate Appropriations Chair Luke Kenley wants the commission to examine the whole tax system, not just its impact on businesses. He says legislators should wait to see if the local option works before considering more drastic reforms.
I think it's a struggle for us to just cut taxes without considering, for example, on the spending side, are there programs that you need to eliminate? And this is a constant pressure point for all states.
Back in Terre Haute, Mayor Duke Bennett is in the middle of budget season. He knows he'll have revenue from the business personal property tax to help fund city services this year. But whether that will be the case in the future remains unclear.
We got rid of the inventory tax, they've lowered corporate tax rates, there's property tax caps are in place. Have we got the payback and the return on giving those taxes up so far? You know, some people say, yeah, I think we have, but how do you prove that? How do you show that? And so before we go eliminate another huge one, let's make sure that we're not, you know, that's going to really deliver those jobs and those businesses come in Indiana.
Bennett is part of the commission tasked with answering some of those questions. They'll meet 2 more times before delivering their recommendations. The legislature could take the issue up next year. Reporting in Terre Haute for Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Harrington.
And now we go over to Alex Dirkman for a look at this week's top stories.
Thank you, Joe. The pilot of a plane that crashed west of Bloomington Thursday reported a potential problem with the fuel pressure indicator before the plane lost altitude and crashed near the Monroe County Airport.
The single-engine plane crashed behind a house. The plane engulfed in flames, and right now we can confirm that there are 2 persons deceased at the scene.
The crash site at Ord Road and State Road 48 is just a quarter mile from the county airport. The Monroe County Air Traffic Control Tower did have contact with the plane that was traveling north to south. The pilot called to the tower to report a mechanical issue involving the plane's fuel pressure gauge and requested permission to land. Permission was granted. Then at 3 miles from the runway, the pilot reported his position. From there, the airport's director, Bruce Payton, says there was no more communication.
The air traffic controller saw the large puff of smoke and immediately contacted emergency response. He tried to make a call, I believe, to the pilot and got no response.
The FAA does not know the origin of the aircraft, if it was a production or a home-built plane. Indiana State Police say 2 suspicious devices they found in Terre Haute Monday are unsophisticated explosives. Police discovered the devices in the area of Collette Park near 7th Street and Maple Avenue. Wabash Elementary School is also nearby and was temporarily placed on lockdown. The photo you're seeing is of a state sergeant rendering safe one of the devices. Police say the devices were less than 10 inches long. They were dismantled and turned over to local police for the criminal investigation. 90 days. That's how long the operator of the Indiana Toll Road has to prove it can pay its debts or possibly face bankruptcy. The toll road operator has been facing financial difficulties for some time and recently made it known that it might have to file for bankruptcy. In 2005, Sintra Macquarie paid nearly $4 billion to lease the toll road for 75 years. A second secular group says a statue featuring a cross placed on state property is unconstitutional. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources recently allowed the wooden statue to be put in Whitewater Memorial State Park, saying it was appropriate for the park's mission to honor World War II veterans. The two secular groups, Freedom from Religion Foundation and Center for Inquiry, say the cross represents only veterans who held Christian beliefs. After the first complaint to the state, Governor Mike Pence issued a statement saying he would do what he could to defend the state's right to keep the statue on state land. The governor's office says that decision still stands. Indiana experienced an increase in workplace fatalities in 2013. According to the State Department of Labor, there were 123 workplace deaths last year. That's up from the all-time low of 113 in 2012. The accidents are largely transportation related. The second highest cause was violence and other injuries by persons or animals. About 180,000 Hoosiers will be getting refunds from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles after excise tax errors were discovered in the BMV systems. Vehicles are taxed in Indiana based on value, which is based on the vehicle cost and adjusted for depreciation. Since 2004, a BMV system has failed to adjust for that depreciation. The refunds are expected to total more than $29 million. Employees at the Bloomington Foods Co-op Blooming Foods say they have enough signatures to move forward with forming a union, but they want to first gain more community support. Casey Kuhn reports on their latest efforts.
Dozens of Blooming Foods employees, friends, and local union workers gathered outside of the Blooming Foods Westside location on Kirkwood. Their goal? To raise support and gather more signatures to form a labor union. Employees began the effort last week, saying the administration has not been looking out for all of its workers. An employee of Blooming Foods and one of the original organizers of the unionizing effort, Andy Mars, says he thinks forming a union will finally make a difference.
I spent a good 2 years, I think, trying to address these things on my own terms as an employee within a co-op, and basically felt completely and utterly frustrated with that.
Mars says the union organizers have petition signatures from more than 30% of the workers showing their support. That is how much is needed to send their petition to the National Labor Relations Board. But the employees are still trying to raise more support and say they still have to verify the signatures before taking any further steps. Blooming Foods officials say they question whether forming a union is in the best interest of the company, but they are committed to having a civil dialogue.
Advocates for nonviolent methods of controlling the Griffey Lake deer population are not giving up, even though sharpshooters are scheduled to begin deer reduction in November. Bloomington Mayor Mark Cruzan says he doesn't think success can be measured without knowing how many deer live in the area.
As strange as it sounds, to those, the uninitiated, there are census done for not just deer but other wildlife, and that has not been done here. So, that's a big question, and that's part of the friction point here.
Proponents of the plan say success will be based on the reduced impact of Griffey Lake's biodiversity. More than 50 people attended a public forum last week to hear two experts from the Humane Society discuss if immunocontraception and surgical sterilization would be feasible. You could soon live in what is now a historic basketball gym. The real estate companies that recently took over the Wigwam Gym in Anderson say they plan to convert it into affordable family apartments and a sports complex. The complex would retain much of the gym and would be rented out for tournaments and other sporting events. The city of Anderson has contributed $100,000 to the renovation project. And in case you missed it, the C-SPAN bus rolled into Bloomington this week. It was part of its Big Ten tour, where it makes stops at all the schools in the conference. Students could stop by and tour the bus. Producers are also interviewing each university president, including IU's Michael McRobbie. And Joe, they're asking them about a wide range of topics, from whether they should pay student athletes to how to reduce student debt.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
Yes.
Coming up next on Indiana News Desk. Hospitals are seeing a growing number of children with an uncommon respiratory virus. We'll speak to a doctor about what's causing the rise in cases and what we can do to stop the spread. And there are significantly fewer monarch butterflies today than there were just 5 years ago, causing some people to worry the species could eventually go extinct. But scientists say there are some key steps Indiana could take to keep that from happening. These stories next, right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We believe in the excitement of exploration, that life offers each of us adventures that are ours for the taking. We believe that children are born explorers who need trusted guides on their journeys of discovery. We believe in breaking new ground and in challenging assumptions, that important questions deserve to be explored deeply, fairly, and honestly. And we believe that who you are and where you come from should never stand in the way of what you want to be. This is who we are. This is what we believe. This is PBS.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. A respiratory virus that mainly affects children is quickly spreading throughout the U.S., sparking some concern from parents and health officials. 140 people in at least 16 states, including Indiana, have tested positive for the virus known as enterovirus D68. That's caused schools to send letters home with parents informing them about the symptoms of the disease, and many hospitals are also imposing visitor restriction policies in an attempt to slow the virus's spread. Dr. James Laughlin joins us now to give us some more insights into what we need to know about the virus. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Now, we mentioned that this virus largely affects children, but who are the people that are most likely to contract this disease?
Well, anybody can contract it. In the majority of people, it'll cause mild symptoms, but the people that are most vulnerable are going to be young children and those children that have a chronic respiratory problem, such as asthma.
And so adults can, as you said, get this as well.
Certainly.
How does it get spread? Is it somewhat like the common cold?
Exactly. You spread it by respiratory droplets, so coughing, sneezing, shaking hands, sharing eating and drinking utensils.
Is it dangerous? Can this virus be fatal at some point?
Yes, it can be, but that's rare.
What would it take to get to that level?
Well, primarily it would have to involve having a strain of the virus that was particularly bad and having that affect the person in an unusual way, plus having an underlying condition that would make it harder for you to resist that virus. Such as asthma, where when you get a respiratory virus, you have more coughing, more wheezing, more likely to get a secondary infection such as pneumonia.
Now, this isn't a disease that we've heard about much recently. Has it been around for a while?
Yes, it's been around for a long time. It was identified back in the 60s. It's the D68. It's always worse when there's a number and a name associated with it, but this virus has been around for a long time, just identified in the 60s. But enteroviruses are very, very common summer viruses. It's a broad category of common cold and respiratory viruses.
So then why is it that it seems like we're hearing all about this now?
Because this particular virus, for some reason this year, has become one that has spread and become more common and been spread around the Midwest particularly.
Well, it's allergy season as well. Before we know it, the flu season will be here. How can someone tell the difference between the different viruses?
Well, they may not be able to tell the difference. Certain viruses are likely to cause more serious symptoms, such as influenza makes people have a high fever, lots of coughing, congestion. Other cold viruses may just cause a runny nose and a sore throat. What you have to pay attention to is how it's affecting you or your child. And if the child or you're a parent and you're watching your children and they have asthma, you want to make sure that if they all of a sudden develop trouble with their breathing and don't seem to be compensating well with the virus, with their respiratory status, then you want to seek medical attention.
Is that trouble with breathing, is that the only thing, or are there other symptoms?
That's the main thing. And you know, if you have a virus and you're feeling really bad, you may not eat or drink. You can get dehydrated. So lethargy and not being alert for particularly an infant would be important to watch for.
And we all know the basic precautions to take during the season, you know, washing your hands and things like that. Are there other things that people should really keep an eye on doing to try to keep this virus from spreading?
Well, I think good hand washing is our mainstay in not sharing eating and drinking utensils, which kids invariably do.
Thank you for being here today. Very interesting.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Over the past 2 decades, the monarch butterfly population has taken a major hit in North America. Some estimates show the population has declined as much as 90%. That news prompted 3 groups to create a petition advocating for the butterfly to be put on the threatened species list, 1 step below endangered. Gretchen Frazee reports on how that effort could change land management practices in Indiana and what impact those changes would likely have on the nation's monarch population.
But they do tend to grow taller than the average plant.
Here at Winter Haven Wildflowers and Native Plant Preserve, just south of Lafayette, owner Renee Winter Evans has created a place where native plants and butterflies can thrive.
This is milkweed, common milkweed. This is what I promote as the best host plant for monarchs in the area because the leaves are huge.
The monarch butterfly has a special place in Evans' heart.
Monarch butterflies are unique. They're the Olympic athletes of the butterfly world. They're strong, they're tenacious, they're admirable. The metamorphosis that a monarch goes through is very quick, so they're amazing to watch.
Each year, Evans collects monarch caterpillars and waits for them to turn into butterflies. Then she tags them and finally releases them to start their migration south to Mexico. But Evans says she's seen a major decline in the monarch population over the years. About 5 years ago, she collected 100 monarchs. This year, she expects she'll only be able to collect about 2 dozen. That's why she's encouraging Hoosiers to start growing milkweed, the monarch's sole food source.
Even if you only live in an apartment, you can get a deep pot and plant milkweed.
I would recommend it for anyone who's interested in nature, but we're really talking on a scale that's much larger. So the efforts at Habitat need to be on a much larger scale than individual backyards.
Entomologist Jonathan Neal has been studying and teaching about butterflies at Purdue University for more than 2 decades. He says other than climate change, the loss of milkweed is the biggest threat to the monarch population. And that problem is easy to see in the Midwest.
There have been some changes in agricultural practices. So there's been an expansion of acreage planted to crops, especially corn for ethanol, that have pushed out some of the fallow areas that contain milkweed.
Neal says the good news is that simply letting milkweed grow in medians and on the edges of farmland could greatly improve the habitat for monarch butterflies. And if the monarch makes it on the threatened species list, those practices could become a mandate instead of a recommendation.
It's a massive commitment, which of course will influence many aspects of our economy. For sure, agriculture is the big one.
And while the fact that Indiana has a lot of farmland could be considered a threat to the monarch, Swinford says that also means the state could be a major player in restoring the butterfly population.
It's a productive landscape, so we have a potential to really influence it, I believe. We're also the Corn Belt, and we have a huge agriculture area, so it'll be a difficult thing to work out, but I hope everybody, all parties will be interested in maintaining this iconic insect.
So right now the question is, should the monarch be considered a threatened species? The answer depends on who you ask. It's not a major pollinator like some other butterflies, and it's not a major food source to any birds or other animals. But entomologists say it is a barometer of the environment's overall health.
It's a sort of canary in the coal mine, if you will. If the monarch butterfly population is feeling effects of environmental change, and it's things that have a human cause or can be affected by changes in human management practices, then we need to look to change the way we manage things.
And the Monarch butterfly has one big advantage.
It always helps to be large, active, and beautiful.
And Swinford says that's why the Monarch will likely have public opinion on its side.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has 90 days from the original petition to determine whether the petition is even valid. If it is, the department then has another 9 months to research and determine how threatened the monarch population actually is before voting whether to designate it as a threatened species. And in case you missed it, IU gave Oscar Award-winning actor Kevin Kline an honorary degree this week. Kline graduated from IU in 1970, and he says it was at IU where he really got his start.
It did all start here. That I still, when I went to New York and went to Juilliard, I was a pretty formed actor by then. And I got to polish what I had learned here at Juilliard.
And we had Meryl Streep and now Kevin Kline. Who next?
Oh, geez, I don't know. But starting this week, well, just last night, we had Lotus kick off, so that'll go through the weekend. And I think 3 of last year's bands are returning. So
yeah, and some streets closed off, so be careful. Yes. And also maybe some rain Saturday, but hopefully it holds off for the big crowds coming into town.
Right, I hope so.
That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news in Southern Indiana throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following. Indiana University's Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, presenting Security Matters, with tips for improving online security in 3 minutes or less. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Communications, serving Southern Indiana with high-speed fiber gigabit internet. Smithville Fiber Gigabit Technology. Tap the power.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.